Right, we're live.
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're making the new recording rule registry that will have all metrics in it that Marco built, and we're making it possible to use that for aggregation sets. In the conversation, like we already built a part before we remembered to record this, so maybe that will become clear. But Marco asked, what is an aggregation set in this context, how do we use it? So I figured it might be handy to also record this. So an aggregation set is a view on our SLIs for a certain panel on a dashboard or alert, or for aggregating the metrics. So here we've got from source SLIs. In our current setup, we use this aggregation set to take all of the SLIs and turn them into these metrics. So it sums all of the high cardinality metrics into this low cardinality aggregation set that has these labels. And then we can aggregate, because this is happening in Prometheus, it doesn't have all of the, it doesn't have everything in it all at once. We aggregate that into a global set here. And then this global set is what we can use for alerts and showing on dashboards. And it has these labels left. Now what we're doing is, Marco, is that clear? Does that answer your question about how we use this aggregation?
Yeah.
So there's two levels here of aggregation set. We will have less of them in Mimir. The first one is take the source metrics and turn them into these. Yeah, then we need to find the key metrics. Key metrics, and that is in the service key metrics.json.
Yep.
That one, yeah. So it tells us here which aggregation sets we're going to evaluate from source and into which aggregation sets we're going. So it's files for services.
Service key metrics rule file.
Yeah. Yeah, so the key metrics, this is going to be different for Mimir. We already have our SLI, so this is what we're going to do completely separate. So we still need to keep our old stuff working.
So in Mimir, we will have a new aggregation set, which is totally separate than the ones we already have for Thanos.
Yes.
But the one we will have would be, let's say we want to use we wouldn't need the from source SLI aggregation set anymore. So we would have something similar to the component.
Yeah,
SLI.
we will record the component SLI straight from this from source, and it's all happening global anyway.
Yes.
So we don't need
exactly.
the thing in Prometheus. Now let's have a look if our make generate finished. No, it fails. Yeah. So what we're doing right now is making a difference. So to make our recording rule registry, recording rule registry configurable, because we need a different one for GitLab dedicated and the get hybrid. We need one for our current setup with Thanos, and then we need a registry that has all the metrics for our setup in Mimir. So what we were creating was null recording rule, a null recording rule registry, which needs to quack the same as our current recording rule registry. And apparently we do need to define all functions on it, or at least this one. Let's open up our selective one. This is the
last one.
Yes. So it can't be a null. We have an object. Wait, are these this? Can this also return a no? Just we need to move the metrics label like registry into the correct directory as well. What function did we call here? Supports burn rate for metric name. So it's a Boolean. That's always false. Be like this. Does the new recording rule registry use this? This metric label registry? No, because you would have touched it when creating the new registry, and you haven't.
That is a part where you want to find all the labels needed for metric
Yeah.
name, right?
Yeah, but in our new thing, it's always going to be supported, and we should raise if it's not like, yeah. When we use the registry that has all of the things, it should have all of the things.
Yeah.
But that's in the future because we already made decisions that in some cases, for example, the stack driver metrics and so on, we're not going to go through this because they don't use rates, and yeah. Anyway, we can try this make generate again. We had an error there. That's not, yeah, that's not, you shouldn't import that at all.
What's that?
That's a file that Emacs left somewhere. Where is the rules JSON directory? That's here, isn't it? Yeah, it's because this file is open, I think. No. That's not good. So here's all the things we actually changed. These deletions shouldn't be there.
Those were deleted because we haven't successfully generated.
Yeah. Looks better. Because we saw the error because one of the processes forked from the make generate failed and then stopped doing stuff. Yeah, got it now. I like the idea of putting configuring the recording rule registry on the aggregation set better now. So we can have Mimir completely separate without having to, yeah.
Yeah, without having to have two metrics config.
And yes, and aggregation sets are already different for dedicated and for like for the get hybrid and for GitLab.com anyway. So Then we just need to, on all the source aggregation sets, we need to configure the selective registry, and otherwise we default to the null registry, and then we'll nicely see what's going on. And now we haven't changed, we have changed so many recording rules. Hold on. So the
Yeah, the recording rule metrics aren't respected anymore.
yeah, and apparently that's in the get hybrid. So it turns out that this was
Oh,
was
that hybrid
using it.
actually use it. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's good. We can make it configurable now. And then we might not need a null registry anyway. Cool. So let's start by moving the configuration from the GitLab metrics config. Let's make that a bit nicer. We've got
In Fatlib command.
why can't I find this selective? Yeah. Make an accessor for it. And then the null registry we're not going to need anymore apparently, and we're going to have the how did we unify the registry?
Full name.
That's the new one. We're going to move that out of the GitLab metrics config bits. Yeah, and then we're going to have to pass it all the way through to all of the things using it. Yeah, that's going to be annoying, but here we go. Now we want to have this on all of these. We'll need to get this from the aggregation set. Let's see how we get there.
Do they all have aggregation set?
I hope so. We'll see. We'll go with the default here. Default. We only need this for source metrics, so let's not make it more complicated. We there we go.
Mhm.
Now we need to dig that up from everywhere. Yeah. Okay, so we might let's start with an easier one. We don't have an aggregation set here, so we will need to pass it on. What if we change this because we've got this use recording room registry parameter already? What if we pass in the what if we pass in the no registry if we let's do it maybe like that. So we always pass in a registry here. Steven's in the way again. And yeah, here. That would be the same everywhere, I think. Where does this self use recording rule registry come from? Here. How did we get to that last time? So we can still have this configuration, like for some things we have this global. Ah, that's annoying, because for those we also want to reuse the recording rule registry. Remember what I'm talking about?
No, sure, I'm kind of lost.
In some services like yeah, no, we use it's an argument, I think, yes. For example, the AI gateway, we turn off the recording rule registry altogether because that was recorded in the recording rule. The old recording rule registry was recorded in Prometheus and not in Thanos. So for services like the AI gateway that are using remote write to Thanos, we can't use the recording rule registry because those rules wouldn't be recorded, but we could use them now. And we should use them now for those cases. So we will need to replace use recording rule registry with yeah, something else like
Wait, so we had this use recording rule registry equals to false because that counter is in the recording rule metric somewhere else, but we don't want
yeah,
this SLI to use.
these rules are only evaluated in Thanos right now.
Yeah.
So
Oh, because it's a remote write to Thanos. It doesn't
yes,
happen.
exactly.
Oh, whereas SL aggregations traditionally was only in Prometheus. Right.
Yeah. So now we want to change that to for Mimir to allow it. And then like we actually don't want this configuration anymore
Right.
for Mimir. Let's see where we were playing with that. Yes, we were using the histogram haptics. I think we were. Yeah. So here, in some cases, depending on the aggregation set, we never pass in the entire aggregation set, do we? Let's see how we use that.
We don't really care about aggregation set here, right?
No, we don't have it. So let's just make sure we always pass in the registry when we need to. It's not formatting because it's the load balance. Yeah, so let's try to pass it in here, the registry. Don't have it on the top anymore. And we don't want to load it from here. And then we only check if you resolve one, then so where do we call this? Going to put these on multiple lines because otherwise I get lost in the arguments. Where did we put it? After the range interval. No. It's going to be one of these annoying refactors, no? Like you already did one of them when you added this use recording rule thing.
Is it the that time when we don't want to use the intermediate recording rules?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we need to pass in the
That was painful.
yeah. Or text component rate query, that's what we need. Here we're going to use the null registry because this is only used in dashboards. Yeah, these are only used in dashboards. And for dashboards, we like for the dashboards, we can use the source metrics in Mimir for now, and then use the recording rule registry later. The reason is like it will depend on the data source, whether or not they're there. You know what I mean?
Because no.
So these functions that I was highlighting here, the percentile latency query and
Yeah.
the aptX attribution query, and yeah. So these two functions are only used in dashboards.
Okay.
If we are in Mimir, if we're looking at the dashboard with using Mimir as a data source, we could use the recording rule registry, yours. In Prometheus, we can sometimes, like, we can use the selective one,
Yeah.
but that won't be available in Mimir, and we don't regenerate the dashboard. We don't have a specific dashboard for Mimir or a specific
Right.
dashboard for Prometheus. So the fallback is just use the source metrics, which is what I think we should do. What do you think?
So which means in both for both Thanos and Mimir, it's gonna query source metrics, not even like the
Yeah,
for selected ones.
yeah, that's for the panels like this ones. You've got one open. Like these panels, but yeah, that's not this one. These ones are not using recording rules anyway, so let's go to the sidekick one.
Like colon overview.
There. So that's for example, these panels, some latency.
Yeah, so now this is using SLI aggregations, but
Yes.
then after this, you would just query source metrics.
Then this will start querying source metrics. Yes. I think that's a good approach, like to make it work for both Mimir and for Prometheus, or shall we?
But there's a chance it wouldn't load, right? Because just to
Well, I think in Mimir it will load.
oh oh
Let's see. Mimir global, and then change this to use source metrics. Yeah, then come on. Can I haven't installed ghost text yet? No.
It's insane how you know this by heart.
What?
No, it's insane that you know this by heart.
What do I know by heart? The name of the metrics.
No, initially the just the two functions that it was only used in
Ah,
dashboard, and then you're just changing this to the raw source metrics.
so this is in the mirror. Let's see if it works. Yeah,
Oh,
there
not
we
so
go.
bad. Okay.
No? So I would say let's go with source metric. Let's see what Thanos does if we throw it this query. Yeah, it's not going to work, is it?
Yeah, so we'll have period just before we switch to Mimir.
Huh. Yeah, that's. I wonder if we should stick with our previous approach and have it configurable not on the aggregation set, but on the metrics config, and then
Yeah,
override for some, because then otherwise we're going to have to go through all of these locations where we now make this call like, okay, this is going to not work in tunnels until we, or it's not going to
yeah,
work in the mirror until we. And if we only have one place where that happens, that might be better.
yeah, that sounds better.
Okay, so back to the previous thing.
Sorry about the distraction.
So that means this can go. This, yeah, might be better to just.
Wish we had committed the previous one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, but this is still good, so we can just copy this.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, that's just stuff we moved around. Don't need. So selective registry back here.
Yep.
Yeah, do we? Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's moved.
If you change the GT one, do you select it?
No, I haven't, but let's see if it still just works first. I thought. That's the null registry. No.
It had the app that the histogram.
Yeah, this is you using the wrong one. Right, let's take a step back. Control break. Resolve rate query. Yeah, I think we're going to be there now.
So where's the differentiating part for Mimir? For the unified one?
Right now, like the difference is that for Mimir, all of these things, like now we print out, hey, this thing doesn't have a recording rule. Like fall back,
Yeah.
but Mimir will always have a recording rule.
Yes.
And we already generate all of them. So yeah, we don't need to.
So in terms of the code path, so let's say we will have the new Mimir rules JSON.NET file with, for let's say the component recording rules, which you want to generate GitLab component appdex, GitLab component error, blah, 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 right? So then how is it gonna look like? Are we gonna have different metrics config or?
Eventually not, but now in the first iteration, I think we will. So we're going to, the metrics config is loaded like this.
So you're gonna have to pass in metrics config in.
Yeah, for Mimir, we're going to, so script generate rules. We're going to, where's our requirements? Here.
Different J. Right.
Yeah. So you're going to have to take one that takes precedence for Mimir. Okay. Annoying. Let's start with committing this. So because no, wait, the dedicated one needs to. We don't need the null registry. Maybe we can just make that a conditional somehow in the main config. Okay. Now we shouldn't have any changes to the generated things, and we don't.
Yep.
So the issue. Right. We pushed that sub already and create a merge request. Cool.
That's how you had the description automatically.
Yeah. Then I don't need to go to GitLab to fill in the box all the time.
That's nice.
Cool. I'll link you the merge request. And the next thing that we need to do is figure out how we flip that config for the Mimir rules. Maybe right now we can just create a new file and start building it for recording rules, and then think about how we make it configurable for the make generate script later. You know what I mean?
Yes. Just one. Let's try to actually generate the rule first, that I think, with the new
Yeah.
registry. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to pick up that merge request for a while? Because I need to go to the toilet and grab something to drink and so on. But
Sure.
I'm
Let's take
happy.
a quick
Do
break.
you have, wait, let's check the calendar. Do you have something to do after lunch? If I have something. You want to continue pairing after lunch? Like
Sure.
after my lunch? Or what time is it for you then?
Um,
Let me check on your calendar. Like you're stopping work soon. So
no, it's okay. I kind of started late today, so I can after
yeah,
your
but
lunch.
That
is you're on UTC +1, so that's
yeah.
9-ish. That's fine. Fine.
Let's see. I can also
But
continue a little bit on my own if you prefer, and then you pick it up in your morning, this merge request, or if you prefer, like I don't want to stretch your day too much.
Up to you as well. If probably you could do it faster without me distracting, then by all means.
No, you're not. But if this
I'm,
is
I'm,
useful,
I'm just really curious how
fair.
is that gonna go with
So you know, I'm
the
just going to ping.
registry. Yeah,
I'm just going to ping you on Slack if I'm starting again, and then yeah, and then we can see if you want to join in, you join in.
sure. Let's see
And if
how.
not,
Yeah.
sound good?
Sounds good.
Cool. Thanks a lot for the time. This was fun. I think we have an idea. Do you have an idea on where we're going now?
Yeah. So let me get this clear. So later in the new unified registry, we would have to implement the
Resolve recording rule 4 and
so the resolve recording rule 4. Essentially, we will just have thumb by the labels we needed. Then inside is just the SLI aggregation.
yeah, but the recording rule registry as it currently stands doesn't do so much. Like the only thing it needs to do is, well, we currently don't generate the rule, like we already generate those rules. So maybe just the name, building, and so on, you abstract out and you keep the way we build rules. Like, yeah, we'll have to see. But like there's only 2 methods that we need for this code path, right? We don't need to build the
Yeah.
The query, though we could. I don't know if that's what
you don't need the expression for and the name for,
yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, so we need this resolve recording rule 4, and what that does is just so here, yeah, we need to check if it's a rate and don't do anything. So that changed, and then this resolve recording rule 4 needs to do something very similar, but it's just, yeah, it checks if it's supported, and then it calls the name function, and otherwise it returns a null.
So it's still pretty much very similar.
Yeah, supports burn rate for metric name. This is, yeah. I think you've built that already, this kind of member to check if all the labels are there and all the, so that should work.
With the SLI metric descriptor, that new one.
Yes, exactly.
Hold on. What is this method for this? Recording rule for metric. Wait.
No, it's supports labels, burn rate, and selector. So here, the metrics label registry, that's actually what that's the part that is going to be different. And then this expression, you could like implement something similar, but I don't know if you have to make it quite the same. Like we already generate the rules somewhere, so we can validate that we don't change the rules, but yeah. But let's see after lunch. That's okay for you. Well, if you're still around. Otherwise, I'm going to get started on it, and then you can pick up when you wake up tomorrow.
Sure. Just ping me then whenever you're starting.
Yeah. Will do. Bye bye.
All right, cool. Bye bye. Thanks. Good lunch.